DOW. Dits on Wrestling.
Ahoy shipmates, and welcome to the Dits on Wrestling podcast, and specifically this week we're focusing on DOW Draft That, and boy do we have an absolute treat for you today. It's been brought up about 3 times to this point, and now we're finally drafting it. This week I'm joined by Keif the Chief, Wrestling Twitter's personality, and we're going to draft women's wrestlers, and this is going to be a lot of fun. Now usually I don't introduce anybody until that kick-ass music plays with the DOW Draft That stuff. But I'm going to introduce Keif now because it's a lot easier for me just to record the whole thing as I wanna. So let's get Keif in. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Excited to be here and ready to do some drafting.
Hell yes. Now, this is the perfect opportunity because this is the intro, of course, to say, are you happy with the rules?
I am happy with the rules, and I am very familiar with them. Listened to every episode all today, and ready to kick your ass.
Fighting talk. But just in case you are not familiar with the rules, I say there's rules. This is like the least serious draft that you will ever come across in the world. But there's some light rules. So we're doing women's wrestlers today. Of course, there are no rules. Any women who has ever wrestled a match is eligible in this draft. Simple as that. But where my Draft That series comes in and becomes its own little thing, we have dower-ups. So you've got a steal and you've got a swap. So a steal, pretty self-explanatory, but it is not available until the 5th round onwards. I can steal one of Keif's picks. Keif can steal one of my picks. So it'll cause some rejigging. It'll cause some strategery, some tactics. But steals are very popular on this, and it always seems to happen against me, which is very, very sad. And then, of course, we have a swap dower-up as well. Never, ever been used yet. Today could be the day that we finally see the swap dower-up used, but the swap dower-up, basically, when we've done our 10 picks, we've got our 10 picks each, we can then go back and swap one of our top 4 picks out with one of our reserves. Simple as that. But nobody's used it yet. Not one person has used a swap dower-up yet. So we may have to change things up and come up with like a new dower-up that begins with S, because they have to begin with S, because it keeps the gimmick going. So steals, sausages, all that good stuff will eventually... I'll land on a dower-up that makes sense, and probably one that will be used more than the swap. I think we're 8 drafts in at the moment, and no swap has been used. That says a lot. But, Keif, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I am too. I've been waiting for this all week.
And I think people have been waiting for a new draft to come up, because it's been a while. It's been a couple of weeks since I've dropped a draft. So what a perfect time to do it then right now.
Exactly. I know I anxiously await the draft every week just to see who picks what and what we're drafting, what you're drafting, and see where it all goes.
It's a whole lot of fun. Now, I chose cruiserweights. Keif chose women's wrestlers, and Keif got the vote 51% to 49%. Very, very close. But of course, you did choose women's wrestlers, and Keif and myself are going to draft that.
Draft That.
And here we go. Another draft is up for grabs for your listening pleasure. And of course, like I alluded to I didn't allude, I made it pretty obvious because Keif is here with me. Keif, women's wrestlers. You seem really excited
women's
to
wrestlers.
do this.
Oh, I love women's wrestling. Women's wrestling has come so far, and it's so damn good. Like, it's, there's times where it's better than the damn men. I mean, very, very many times there have been matches that are women's matches that you're like, holy shit, this is stealing the show right in front of my eyes. And just, I love women's wrestling, especially the young crop of wrestlers that are coming in now. There are some back in the day like Lita and Trish Stratus, people like that are great, but they maybe competitive edge that these women have now. And I think there's a lot of women wrestlers now that have sort of a chip on their shoulders and are really looking to make themselves big stars.
Yeah, because a lot of my favorite matches are women's matches, especially in the last couple of years. Like, there's so much talent available, like in the women's wrestling division, in that little talent pool. The names like that come to mind, that they just flood in. Like, it's not as if I struggle to find like a huge name in the world of women's wrestling, because it is not a struggle in any way, shape, or form. But you look back at the late 90s, early noughties, yeah, sure, there were some big names, but outside of maybe 4, maybe 5 at a stretch, you're looking at pretty average wrestlers. And in fact, actually, some that weren't even wrestlers, they were models first and then wrestlers.
Yeah, exactly. There were models that came in and, were athletic and could do some of the moves and kind of do holds and this and that, but they were also being regulated, like a few minute matches. And now they're putting on, 30-minute Iron Woman matches and 5-star classics and this and that and this and that. I mean, it's come so far in the last just 10 years.
And main event in pay-per-views as well. And not just like B-level pay-per-views, like WrestleMania, and then as recently as Survivor Series as well. I mean, the Survivor Series main event wasn't exactly, what we were expecting. We were expecting an absolute barn burner. We didn't get it. But you can at least still say that the women main evented another Big 4 pay-per-view in WWE, which is fantastic. It's a lot of steps in the right direction.
Absolutely. A lot of steps in the right direction, and they are, just doing everything they possibly can to take over and make names for themselves.
And it makes me excited to do this draft, because I went for cruiserweights, and as the draft was getting closer, well, the poll for the draft decision was getting to the back end of it. I was kind of like, you know what? I actually would like to do a draft of women's wrestlers. So I might have actually, even if cruiserweights won, I may have overturned it and gone for the women, because it's my show. I can do what the hell I want. So with that being said, let's start this draft. And we need to start the draft by flipping a coin. And because you are the guest, that means you get to choose heads or tails for the first pick. What you going with, buddy?
You know what, Dits? I have listened to the podcast for a long time, since the beginning that you started the Draft That series, and I don't know that anyone has ever deferred to the host. So I will try a little bit of strategery here and defer to you, hoping that your own decision is your own demise.
Interesting. Will on episode 2 just gave me the first pick. So you are actually the first person to give me the coin flip.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
I thought so.
Okay, right. I'm going to go with heads. Always go with your head,
all right,
not your dick. in our case, anyway. Right, here we go. We're going to flip. Here we go. And we have heads, which could also be your dick, but it isn't in this case.
Depends on what coin you're using.
So Captain Dits over here, the draft master, has the first pick. And you know what? I actually don't like having the last 2 drafts. I think I've had first pick. I've won both of them, but it makes that steal a little bit more difficult. I think it does anyway, because if you haven't stolen by like pick 9, like, and you've picked first, like, I think it's very difficult Very, very difficult. So hopefully you pick somebody amazing and I go, I'm having them. And I'm going to just go straight in. Round 5, steal, done. Get out of the way. So I avoid not being... against Ant Won't Stop last week, the last draft, I got to like pick 9, didn't use my steal, and then pick 10, couldn't do anything about it. So I'm not letting that happen again. Now, before we do get into round 1, slight caveat here. Keif knows full well because we talked about it before we got into this. I am ill. There was no episode of the DOW pod this week because I'm struggling to talk. So as this goes on, you'll notice that my voice is getting croakier and croakier, and you'll have coughing fits, sneezes, all that good stuff all throughout this thing. So just bear with. I have a feeling that Keif like slipped something in my mail, and just to get the upper hand. That's what I think's going on. I'm calling foul play here.
You can't see me right now, but I am menacingly rubbing my hands together with a evil look on my face.
It doesn't surprise me. I feel like shit, and I'm blaming you.
Oh, I would never do that to you. I will only slip good drugs into your mail.
Only the good stuff. Only the good stuff. And to be fair, I have so many drugs in my system right now. The good ones, before any police dive on me. The good ones, the legal ones, the over-the-desk ones. Of course. I've got all that good stuff floating around in me, and it's not doing anything at all. However, this might perk me up a little bit. Hang on, let me just have a sip of the old H2O.
There you go.
God's liquid.
I'll take a little sip of my drink, too.
Oh, that's an icy beverage. What are you drinking there?
A little tequila and some passion fruit juice.
Ooh, whoa, hang the fuck. Like, let's get rid of this draft for a second. Tequila and passion fruit juice.
Oh, yeah.
Like, talk me through that. Where does that combination come from?
My brain? I don't know.
Is this a Keif invention?
Passion fruit juice? I don't know if it's an invention, but it's I feel like I've mastered it pretty darn well. I got a few weeks ago my birthday, so a couple friends got me some really, really choice bottles of tequila, and I've just been slowly trying different juices, and passion fruit and tequila seems like the clear-cut winner so far.
Oh my god, that sounds like I hate tequila. Like I gag whenever I have it. So, but I think putting passion fruit with it. Oh,
and it's really good tequila too. Honestly, I could probably drink it just neat, but a little bit of juice helps. Make you feel a little bit more energetic, a little fruity.
So you like The Rock. The Rock loves his tequila, and Keif loves his tequila.
Yeah.
So you've got tequila.
Do you like The Rock?
And I've got Lemsip and water. Well, I know what I would rather be drinking, to be honest. In fact, actually, tequila would probably do me a world of good. It would probably actually help my throat. But there you go.
Or at least wake you up a little bit.
Yeah.
Or help you sleep.
I'm going to go with the... Well, actually, see, that's the thing. It's 5-1 in the morning here right now, so I don't know whether I want to be more awake for the draft or if I want to be aiming at getting ready to go to sleep, so once we're finished, I can just go to bed. I don't know. I don't know where I stand. But that's for me to worry about when I go to bed at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I instantly regret it because I'm up at 6 for work. But that's me. That's my struggle.
I'll help put you to bed, Dits.
Oh.
I'll tuck you in right after the draft.
Yeah, after you slap me silly on this thing. Yeah. Right, so, round 1. And I get the first pick. And this pick, like, this is when I was thinking about it, because, if anyone listens to this, Keif, of course you listen to this, I stopped making lists around episode 2 because I was getting my ass handed to me, so I just thought I'll just think of it on the fly, I'll wing it. But I put a little list together here, and looking at it, I'm glad I'm going with this pick first, because I'm worried that you would steal this if I left it late. Because for me, this woman is the best women's wrestler on the planet right now. She is incredible. She is amazing. Like, she's just gone through a little bit of a transformation. Like, when I first had exposure to her, I thought like she's really good. Like she's talented. She's got a great move set. But I just didn't click. It just didn't click with me for whatever reason. But then she just turned, and then the look, the entrance, the moveset, still great, but just added a little bit to it, a little tiny tweak, the attitude, just everything about her is amazing. Like, she is awesome, and she's putting on great matches down in NXT at the moment. She is a future NXT Women's Champion, and hell, if she ever moves over to Raw or SmackDown, I can tell you now, she's going to be a Women's Champion there as well. My first pick is Io Shirai.
Ooh, that is a great pick, and you just took one of mine off of my board.
Oh, yeah. See, first pick.
Damn.
And confirmed,
I did not expect that.
Confirmed to me that I needed to go with her first.
That's a good pick. That is a great first pick. I think my first pick has you beat, though.
Oh.
Because my first pick is not only one of the best female wrestlers in the world, she's one of the best wrestlers, period, in the world. My first pick is going to be Tessa Blanchard. She is amazing. She has the look. She has the microphone ability. She has the moves. That Magnum off the top rope is incredible. She is on top of the world right now, and she could do, I mean, if her contract is up with Impact anytime soon, she could stay there and run that place. She could move to AEW and take that women's division over, or make her way to WWE and take over there. She can do whatever she wants right now. She is on fire and on top of the world.
I'm devastated. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit gutted. That's a very, very good pick. But I don't know why. Maybe a bit of naivety on my part. I didn't think you were gonna go with her, especially this early. So I always go with a blockbuster 10th pick. Tessa was my blockbuster 10th pick. That's a little peek behind the curtain there. Tessa was my 10th pick. I was going to save her. I was going to go for it or steal her. And yet, you've gone for her straight away. First pick. Ruined me.
Straight away. Yeah, I thought you would take her first. Or actually, I did not expect you to take Io Shirai first. That threw me off a little bit, but I think I can get the train back on track here.
I know if Josh Robinson is listening to this draft right now, and whoever is listening to this, you know that I talk about Josh a lot on here. He's a very good friend of mine. I know he's a very big fan of Io Shirai, and I know he would have marked out just a little bit for my first pick. A little bit. Maybe it was for Josh. It was his birthday the other day. That's my little birthday present for him. Oh. Io Shirai is my first pick. But
happy birthday, Josh.
Yeah, happy birthday, Josh. Now. See, this is where strategery comes in. I love that word, strategery. Like, God bless Anthony from Anthony Talk Stuff for that word. He is the DowPod first mate, after all. He's given me the word strategery. I don't know if it's a real word. I still, to this day, don't know if it's a real word. I really don't.
I don't believe so. When I typed it into my notes, it came up as underlined and not a real word. But I am very determined to not only use it in my everyday wrestling life, but in my everyday life in general. So strategery will be a word. Here's my stance. 2020, strategery becomes a real word.
Yes. And I'm going to, if I ever drop merch, you can be damn sure that strategery is going to be on a t-shirt. Absolutely.
Just have a picture of yourself in a bottle of champagne and say a little bit of strategery.
Oh, there you go. Oh, maybe you should be my merch guy.
I do have a marketing degree, so that's right up my alley.
Well, I know where I'm coming to if I ever decide to go into the merch. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, there it is. Get that out of the system before round 2.
Yeah.
So round 2. And I maybe a little bit of me thought this could have been your first pick. I think if I lined up a bunch of wrestling fans in front of me and said, who is your first pick? If you had to pick any women's wrestler as your first pick, who would it be? I think a lot of people would go with this pick. But she's my second pick, which is nothing to be sniffed at. Like, being second is nothing to be ashamed of. You know, especially behind Io Shirai and Tessa Blanchard, like two fantastic women's wrestlers on the planet at the moment. But the one I'm going for as my second pick is the previous generation's best women's wrestler. And we have recently seen her wrestle Charlotte in what appeared to be her send-off match, and she, as the fans like to say, still got it. I still think she could go. I still think she could have a longer program with anybody in the world. And I'm not talking just women. I'm talking about anybody. Anybody. I'm talking Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus is my second pick. Arguably the greatest women's wrestler ever. I don't personally think she is, but it is arguable.
I mean, she carried a division in a very, very pivotal time where it started to become less of evening gown matches and mud pit matches when women started to become more serious, taken seriously as competitors. And she carried the women. I mean, her, Lita, they both, I mean, with a couple others, that's a great pick. A little bit of stratisfaction for Dits.
Yeah, stratisfaction. Strategery.
That one was tough.
That was a tough one to get out.
You're not going to put that on a t-shirt.
That's not going on a t-shirt, no way. Maybe I'll get some coughs on a t-shirt.
There you go. Just
yeah, get it out. After every pick I do, I'm just gonna cough, get it out of my system.
That's good. Yeah. Get it out. Get it all out.
That's strategy in its own right.
I suppose for my second pick, I go from one badass to another badass, and I'm going to go with the Queen. Sorry, I had to pause there. The Queen of Spades, Shayna Baszler.
Oh.
Yes.
I actually nearly wrote somebody else down then. Shit.
You know what? I'm not going to lie. I planned that all day. I'm so glad that it worked out. That was my, spot of the draft. So I'm going to go ahead and pack up and head out now. No, Shayna Baszler is my second pick. She is just completely badass. She brings legitimacy, that Brock Lesnar feel. I've said it for a couple years now that once she's on one of the main roster shows now that NXT is, considered a main show. But once she comes to the main roster, she is going to tear all the women apart. And she is, I'm terrified of her. I'm honestly terrified of her. I think that if I ever said anything bad about her, she would just completely choke me out. And, I would have to do the Nikki Cross smile and just kind of take it.
It's funny you should say that because I went to an NXT an NXT UK event here in Plymouth, and Shayna Baszler was there, and I put a video out a couple of days after where I was at ringside, right in the corner where the steps are, and she was making her way down to the ring, and I had my camera phone out. Oh, my camera phone, Jesus Christ, it's not 2009. I can say I had my phone out recording it. And she looks dead into the lens, cold steel look into the lens. I will post that again in association with this draft, just so you can see it. But yeah, she's a scary woman.
She is, and she's gotten so much better than when she first started on the microphone.
Yes.
And that theme song, I love her theme song. The horses intro and the dun 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 dun. Oh, it's so great.
Yeah, I honestly, I will be honest with you here. She actually didn't make my top 10. She was a reserve, but I don't know now that I actually think about it. Yeah, she is the Brock Lesnar of the women's division. She really is. She's been women's champion now for over a year. Is that right?
Yeah, I think they said something like 375 days as of Survivor Series or something like that.
Crazy. And
insane.
It could end very soon with Rhea Ripley breathing down her neck, but you never know with Shayna Baszler. She'll probably find a way to keep hold of that title even longer.
Well, and then when she inevitably comes to Raw or SmackDown, she's got an instant feud with, what's that one lady's name that main evented WrestleMania? Oh yeah, Ronda Rousey.
Ooh.
She's got an instant feud with her. an instant feud with Becky, and now an instant feud with Bayley. So she's got three of the top, probably top five females on the main roster to go after. So the big year coming up for Shayna Baszler, I think.
It's going to be great. It's going to be so good. Like it's one of those things now as well. Like now that NXT is, I hate to say like the main roster, but it is part of it is WWE's third brand now. Now that they're 2 hours on network TV, like I don't know if she would actually move to Raw or SmackDown anytime soon, because that whole moving up side of things seems to have been pushed to the side. So I'll be interested to see what happens next year if it does happen. But if it does, at the end of the day, we're going to get a whole host of fresh matches, because she's not young. She's probably got about 2, maybe 3 years left in her, but her style is enduring. It means that at no point is she going to do like a flip off the top rope and bust her ass and do any of that kind of stuff. She's got a very safe working style, so she can go for like a long time. But I think peak years, you're probably looking about 2 or 3 years.
And eventually, you have to imagine she's going to get that Brock Lesnar type schedule where she's an attraction and she's, off TV for months on a time. And she plays this good, heel so good. And she can, come out for big events and kick some ass and go home early.
Yeah. Great pick. Absolutely great pick.
Thank you.
Round 3. And it's at that difficult point where you're coming very close. I've got 2 more picks now that can't be stolen, so I have to really think about who I'm going to go with. But I'm gonna because there's so few, it's easier to stand out in the previous generation of women's wrestling. And out of Trish and this person, I always preferred this person over Trish. I'm going with Lita as my third pick. I loved Lita as a kid. Like, I loved the fact that she wasn't your, stereotypical, model-esque women's wrestler. She kind of went against it. She was essentially the Paige of her era, like her generation. Like, she completely went against the grain. She was great. Like, the stuff with the Hardys was fantastic. And then when she became the biggest bitch on the planet, when she sided with Edge in the whole Matt Hardy scandal, like, she was perfect in that role. Absolutely perfect in that role. And I've enjoyed her little bits that she's done, like when she's come back in the last couple of years. She can still go. She's like Trish, she could still go. And it kind of has me thinking that we could have a Trish Lita, just end it there kind of match. I would love that. I think it'd be fantastic. But I still think Lita is one of the biggest names in women's wrestling history. So I had to have her in my top 4 before Steele's could be made.
You're not wrong. Absolutely. Little boy Kiefer loved Lita. Little boy Kiefer loved Lita. And she was amazing. Just that moonsault she did. No other woman was doing a moonsault, and Hurricane Rana's off the top ropes. And once she joined up with Team Extreme and started, doing ladder matches with them and helping them out, that just set her over the top. And then, like you said, she became aligned with Edge and just easy to hate at that point.
And that was such a good partnership with Edge. Like, WWE knew they had to do something with the whole thing going on, and it just came out with this hot fire angle, and then it just obviously it moved on from Matt Hardy, but they kept together, and it was great. Like, I loved Edge and Lita together. I thought it was fantastic. But like, I'm happy that she's picked number 3. She was never going to be number 1, but number 3, like number 2 is nothing to be sniffed at. Like, there's so many women's wrestlers that could have been number 3, but I've gone with Lita. I'm happy with that.
That's a good spot for her. I think she would be okay with that. Let's see. So for my third pick, I'm going to have to go with someone I feel like I should have picked sooner, just by my based on how much I like her and how much I've enjoyed her wrestling over the last, roughly about a year. she's been on fire for about a year, and that is the Irish Lass Kisser kick. Excuse me, holy shit. The That's a different gimmick. The Irish Lass Kicker, Becky Lynch.
Oh wow!
Oh, that was great.
That's a keeper. That's a keeper
Oh,
right there.
Let me take another drink.
Oh Christ! Oh, I enjoyed that one.
Irish Lass Kicker.
Last
Becky
kicker.
Lynch.
Very good. Pick.
Yes. She's been on fire. I mean, she's well documented on where she's come from. I liked her when she first started with NXT. She came onto the main roster kind of silly and goofy and dip-de-doo girl. But once that night where she helped invade Raw and Nia Jax busted her open, she became a star. And that is one of my favorite. I mean, you probably see it constantly floating around. That is one of my favorite gifs of her just standing at the top of the ramp,
Yes.
blood trickling from her face and her arms out like, what do you want to do? And, man, she is just, her story over the last year has been incredible. And truth be told, I would be very happy if she held the belt until WrestleMania this year.
I mean, I don't know anybody who could really take it off her right now, because if Charlotte takes it, then it's just boring, to be honest. I'm bored. I'm not bored of it. They can still go and put like decent matches together, but we need to move away from Charlotte and Becky, I think, for a little while. But away from Charlotte, there's not that many people who could really stand up to Becky and take the title from her. Like, there really isn't. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of names off the top of my head right now, and I'm struggling. There's Natalia.
Oh.
Yeah, Natalia. I mean, I guess Asuka and Kairi Sane are they're on Raw, but they're in tag stuff at the moment. So I mean, Asuka.
Right.
Asuka would be the one singles wise who could do it. But I love the Kabuki Warriors at the moment, so I can't see that ending anytime soon. So yeah,
I don't think that's going anywhere.
No, so if she keeps it till WrestleMania, like it seems that Keif and Dits are going to be pretty happy.
I think so. I'd like to see her. I mean, I did an idea that she, she still has Nia Jax. I don't know if she's injured or not, but she has yet to get her comeuppance with her, I feel like. I wanted her to go on through to Royal Rumble and then maybe end up facing Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but they kind of spoiled that with us on NXT for the first time match. But still, there's more story to be told there.
Absolutely, and that'd be. It was a fun little match on NXT before it went south. So if given the time and all that good stuff, I think they could put on a hell of a match together. Like, it'd be so good.
Oh yeah.
So, Christ, let's get the cough out of the way.
Yep.
There it is. There it is. Right. Round 4, the final pick for me that cannot be stolen. Truth be told, I was actually going to go with Becky here, but you have ruined that for me, which is annoying. So, I've just mentioned her name, and I'm just going to go out and say it. Asuka is my 4th pick. Like, I don't care like how her booking has been over the last, since her loss to Charlotte. As soon as she lost her winning streak, she kind of went downhill from there. But that doesn't change the fact that she is fantastic. Like, she can play a babyface pretty well, but she can play a heel phenomenally. Like, at the moment, like, the thing she's got going on with the Kabuki Warriors, like, when they first started, I wasn't a fan. Really, really wasn't a fan, actually, to be honest. I hated it. I just thought, you've got 2 Japanese wrestlers and you just thrown them together because you just thought it fucking fit just because they're Japanese. Like, that's what it looked like to me, and it was just, like, stupid. And you've got Kairi Sane, who's fantastic as a single star, and you've got Asuka, who's fantastic as a single star. But now they are gelling incredibly well. As soon as they've done that heel turn, like, and Asuka's got the green mist thing going on as well, which I absolutely love. I think she's great. I think she's got so many. I think she's still got so many years ahead of her. Another world title would be really good to see. It really would be. Like she's so good at what she does, and I didn't want you to steal her, so I've gone in with her as my number 4 because I had a feeling if I did, between 5 and 10, you would steal. So I've gone to number 4. She's my last safe pick.
That's a great pick. That is a great pick. And I have to admit, you made me remove her from my list. I had her a little bit further down, which was kind of foolish of me, I think. But here we are. Asuka's amazing. I love what she's doing right now, and she's again is a legitimate badass. I mean, if you've seen her matches from when she was in Japan, and I believe it was her versus I think it was Minoru Suzuki. I don't remember if it was him, but she earned her spot there for sure.
Is that when she got like she got it was pretty fucking strong? Like she was stiff and strong. She was getting her fucking ass handed to her. Was that the one?
Oh, that's the one. Yeah,
it was brutal.
It's almost rough to watch. Yeah, it's almost hard to watch because he's just laying into her, and I think people outside of the wrestling know-how will look at that like, holy shit, like this is not okay. But I think others, some people that know kind of the history and what's going on, will recognize that was her, or earning her stripes there and her paying her dues, so to speak, and she really gained a lot of respect after that.
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't come out of that with respect, oh, Christ almighty. Like, something else. Really, really hard to watch. Really hard to watch.
But that leads to my 4th pick. Is that right?
Yeah. Your final safe pick.
Final safe pick, and I'm going to go with a doozy here. You talked about Trish, you talked about Lita carrying their division. This woman carried her division through the Divas era, where you see a lot of those supermodel women coming in and flexing, and she was one of the women that actually would wrestle. And I firmly believe this. She's amazing on the microphone. I would venture to say that her significant other, who is now a guest on Backstage, I would venture to say that she's better on the microphone than he is. And my pick is going to be AJ Lee.
You bastard.
Yes.
Damn.
She is just incredible. She can move in the ring. She can talk on the microphone. Like I said, I think her pipe bomb on the women's division was just as, if not more, impactful than CM Punk's. I know Punk's was a lot different and it changed a lot, but she brought around a lot of change that you're seeing now in the women's division, and it really, Trish and Lita and a few others laid the groundwork. She put up the framing and the structure for the women's evolution to start. I believe she was the one that started the hashtag Give Divas a Chance. And, of course, Stephanie McMahon invented women's wrestling, but AJ Lee was the caveat that brought it to actually being wrestling.
Oh, that's actually rocked me a little bit. I was not expecting you to go for AJ Lee there. I figured you would maybe get her in your get her in your 10, but not number 4. Like, especially where I can't steal. Like, Jesus Christ. But that's the whole point, I guess. That is the whole point. Strategy, tactics, all that good stuff. That is such a good pick. Such a good pick. I think when you look back, in the grand scheme of things, she really only had about 2 or 3 years. Maybe not even that as a solid wrestling personality outside of the GM roles and the girlfriend roles. Like it was probably about 2 or 3 years where it was just wrestling. Maybe even less than that. But because of everything that we have now, you kind of forget that AJ Lee had this huge impact on women's wrestling. Like she was, I mean, like you said, like she was there at the forefront of this whole hashtag give divas a chance. You know, she was there. She was right there at the very front of it. The pipe bomb, you could say, excuse me, was what kicked it all off. Maybe it was part of it at least. I'm gutted. I'm gutted. I'm gutted you've gone for AJ Lee. So, she was one of my favorites. Like I took a hiatus away from wrestling for a while, and when I came back, AJ Lee was around. She was active, and I remember just watching her and going, "Why wasn't she here when I left wrestling? Like this is like she's so good. Like she's brilliant.
So good.
Which is why you've got her in your top 4, so I can't steal her." Okay, right. This is where it gets really hard for me. This is round 5. Steal, right. Dower up is now in play. Of course, we have one each. And any of the names that I have in front of me, I know that you could steal quite easily. Anybody would. Anybody would be happy with the names in front of me. It's just whether... It's which one you go for. That's what has me worried. That's where strategery comes in. That big key word, strategery. Okay, right. Okay, I'm happy. I know what I'm going for. You might steal. You might not. If you don't steal, it looks good for me. So, many people actually listen to this, I think will be surprised that this wasn't a top 4 for either of us. Because at the rate she's going, like, she's a future Hall of Famer, without a doubt. In fact, I mean, I guess... you could look at the list and go, two of them are Hall of Famers, but you could look at it and go, many of these probably will be at some point in their lives. But she is attached to a Hall of Famer, a 2-time Hall of Famer at that. Personally, I like her. I think she's great. I don't think she is. I don't think her talent and just everything about her merits the amount of time she's won titles. I do believe it is literally just a gimmick. Her title wins are just gimmicks, I think, because they're so short. Very few are meaningful. But I'm not going to take anything away from her. She is fantastic on the mic. She's great. She can play a heel so very well, and she's I mean, considering how long she's been wrestling for, like where she is now, like she's great. She's very, very good at what she does. So I have no qualms about putting Charlotte in as my number 5 pick.
You know, that is a very good pick, Dits. I'm not going to steal her from you.
Oh yeah, I was tempting you in.
You know what? I counted on you I actually thought you were going to pick her either first or second.
Oh.
And that's why I threw in that Queen of Spades little bit there. But I think we might sit on the same side of the fence on our opinions of Charlotte. I think she's a whole lot she's a tremendous athlete. She's pretty good on the microphone. She has the legacy behind her, but I'm just not a fan. I don't know. She just doesn't do it for me. So you can have her as your number 5 pick, because I have a banger of a number 5 pick. And with that, Charlotte has her counterpart, her significant other that she's, I think, engaged to. This person, her husband, actually works with her and right alongside her quite often. She is incredible in NXT, most recently specifically on TakeOver. She didn't quite get the spotlight at Survivor Series, but with her back catalog of indie shows and her future with NXT, she is going to be a shining star. I am choosing Candice LeRae.
That's a good pick.
Tenacious C.
Oh, that's a very good pick.
She's amazing.
Unexpected as well.
Yeah, she's. just look at what she's done in NXT. She's got nowhere to go but up with her work on the indie scene. I don't know if you've ever seen the match that she had with her and Joey Ryan as the world's cutest couple, or world's cutest tag team, against the Young Bucks. But she, I mean, my God, she bled all over the place, and she took a beating. And I think they still came out with the win on that match, but she is just incredible, amazing. I can't wait for her to go after. Maybe she's the one to dethrone Shayna. But I cannot wait for her to hold that NXT championship up. It's going to be just as good as it was when Gargano held it up. But that is my 5th pick, Candice LeRae.
Very, very good. And it is going to be a feel-good moment when she, or of course, if she wins the NXT Women's Championship, which I'm sure she will at some point. She's certainly more than capable. She is fantastic. She is that feel-good spark in the NXT Women's division. Yeah. Like, she really is. She's great. But I'm not going to steal her. She was on my honorable mentions, but I'm not going to steal. Ooh, here we go. Number 6, round 6. And let me just, if I write the name down, it'll make me think: is it worth the ink? And it is worth the ink. I have been following this person for a number of years now, and she hasn't actually been wrestling that long. And when you watch her, there's no way you would ever think it. You really wouldn't. Like, she has everything that you need to succeed in a wrestling ring. Everything. Just in wrestling in general, not just the ring. Like, she's got a great moveset. She's got a fantastic look. She's got a great entrance. She's good on the mic. She has amazing presence. She's exploded recently, and it would be hard not to include her in the draft. And originally she was an honorable mention, but I have just bumped her up because honestly, like, in a year, maybe 2, you could probably say that this woman is the best women's wrestler on the planet. I think it's going that way. Like, she's still got so much room for improvement, but she's already great. Rhea Ripley, pick number 6.
Ooh, that is an outstanding pick.
How does that tickle your pickle?
You know what? I'm going to steal her.
You fuck.
I'm stealing her. I had an empty spot in my next pick, and I thought, you know what? She was on my list, and I bumped her earlier for another woman. But yes, I am stealing Rhea Ripley from you right here.
That's made me sad. I shouldn't have sold her.
I
sold her. Sad. I sold her to the moon there, and it's backfired.
You did. You made her sound very, very. Well, I mean, she's already good, but she's already great. You made her sound even better, and I just had to fill that last spot. Hopefully, it doesn't come back to bite me. I don't think it will. Rhea Ripley's a great steal.
That is a very good steal. If you're gonna steal, make it count. You just made it count. But this means I've got 2 picks in a row now.
That's right.
You've derailed me. You've rocked me. I'm looking.
I'm rocking left and right here.
You know, I'm not unhappy with this replacement. To be honest, I'm quite content with this replacement actually. My replacement for the stolen Rhea Ripley, you absolute bastard. I'm going with Sasha Banks.
It's boss time.
It is. Get out. Leave. Now.
I'll show myself out here.
Sasha Banks is, out of all the 4 horsewomen, she is my favourite. Out of all of them. Ever since I started watching NXT, and I clocked eyes on the women's division, like, Sasha was just I hadn't seen anything like her before. Like she had this, like the gimmick of the legit boss, the cockiness, the arrogance, everything about the gimmick was so good, and she was great in the ring to boot. And people knock her mic skills, and don't get me wrong, every now and then it does feel, that it does feel like she's reading from a script, and not every promo hits. But when they do hit, they're great. Like especially backstage stuff, when she's being condescending and putting people down. She's great, and I think her character's great. She went obviously through her little dark spell, which from becoming a babyface in the first place was a stupid move. You just wrecked one of the best things you had coming out of NXT onto the main roster at the time, like for me. And of course that lasted, 2 years, 2.5 years, maybe even 3 years. It just seems to go on and on and on.
Too long.
It was too long. Like it was just like, come on, like Sasha Banks is a heel, and since she's come back, and as a heel, it's proved us all right. She's been so good when she's come back, even to the point that she's overshadowing her heel counterpart in Bayley. Like she's still overshadowing Bayley. I love Sasha. I think she's fantastic. I would have been devastated if she left, amid the whole WrestleMania, kind of breakdown thing that she had. But I would have been gutted if she left. But she didn't. She came back, and she's better than ever. So, Sasha Banks, 6th pick. I'm happy with that.
Great pick.
Very happy. I would rather have had my Rhea Ripley and Sasha as my 7th, but here we are. Here we are. So now
that's not a bad replacement at all.
It's not. Excuse me. So now I have to go and go for a 7. But you can't steal anymore, which is... It's comforting to know that you can't steal anymore. Who do we have? Candice Michelle. No, I'm not going for her.
Terry Reynolds.
Tori, actually, I quite like Tori. I'm not going to knock Tori. There you go. Oh, God, this is hard. This is tough.
The cat.
Eva Marie.
Yes.
I actually quite liked Eva Marie, to be honest. I liked the character. I thought the character was fantastic. Obviously, she was very green, but I actually didn't mind Eva. If Eva Marie came and did a comeback, I would be happy. I genuinely would.
I did think it was pretty enjoyable to see her come out. I mean, oh no, I twisted my ankle. Oh no, my wardrobe's messed up. I can't wrestle tonight. It was entertaining how they kept her from wrestling, but still kept her, on TV.
Oh, God, this is tough. The top 10 that I've written down is, I think there's only one name on there that hasn't been said, and the rest are honorable mentions. Ooh. I'm gonna go with
Santa. Ooh, let's hear it.
I'm gonna go with. Okay. No, I'm not going. No, I've changed my mind. I'm not going with her. Oh my God, that's so hard.
See, I had a tough time when I was looking for women's wrestlers because there's names out there that are big names, but I went with women that had sort of a special place in my memory as far as the matches I've watched of theirs, the work they've done. I went with some of my favorites instead of going with the top, just reading off the top list of women. I think that's the spirit of this draft, is going with who you like.
Yeah, which is why I'm actually surprised I haven't actually written this name down. Let me just write that down. I'm going with Bianca Belair as my 7th pick. Is that
what's a good British term for? I mean, that she was coming up, if not the next pick, the one after. She was right there. What's a good? Man, I should have done a little more research on that aspect of it. I can't think of like a Midwestern not slur, but like slang for for you bastard.
Tosser.
I guess that's it. Tosser.
You absolute tosser. You tosser.
I have to ask you completely off topic, but is bollocks a bad word?
I personally don't think bollocks is a bad word, but I know a lot of people that would be offended by it. If you, it's one of my favorite words. Like, you know, you're talking a load of bollocks, all this kind of. It's a great word. And
I think Becky said it on TV.
She did
last Monday, and I was like, "Can she say that?"
I loved it when she said. I was like, "Yes." So I don't know how that crept in, but it's feckin' brilliant that it has. Oh, bollocks! Bollocks! Great word.
Oh, bollocks!
Such a great word.
Such a great word.
It is. Yeah, Bianca Belair.
That's a great pick. She
is like, again, I don't think she's been wrestling that long, but when you see like how far she's come along in such a short space of time, like she was undefeated, I believe, for a very, very long time until Baszler came.
She was not undefeated. She was not undefeated. She was undefeated.
Nice.
You have to say it right. Yes, that is an amazing pick. She's strong. I love her hair whip. When I first saw that, I think she did it in the Mae Young Classic, and she started beating the shit out of her opponent with her hair, and I was like, that's amazing. Why has there been no one else to beat the shit out of someone with a long lock of hair? And I mean, you can hear it when it snaps. It sounds very painful.
It is essentially a whip.
Yeah,
it is brilliant. I think she's got a great look. Excuse me, a great gimmick. Her moveset is great. I think she's really young. Like, early 20s, surely.
Yeah. So she's got a lot of time ahead of her, and I believe she's married to Montez Ford, so she's got a very agile, significant other. So if she wants, she can start adding. Not that she needs to. She's got the power game to just ground everyone down. But if she wants to add some aerial offense, I'm sure she'd have a great teacher to help show her. Maybe even that big frog splash he does.
Oh, that's such a good frog splash. Such a good frog splash.
He gets so much hair.
But no, like when you look at a lot of the picks that we've made so far, like so many of them are the future of the women's division in WWE quite easily. Bianca Belair certainly fits the mold there. So that's my recovery pick at number 7. So who are you going for with your number 7?
With my number 7,
steel button at the ready here.
Let's see, steel button at the ready. I'm a little nervous now. So this is a woman that. Personally, I've followed for a long time now. When she was on the indie scene, now that she's on Impact, she's getting a big spotlight on her. She is incredibly powerful. She's got a great look, and she has gotten some very, very influential names. Well, maybe not influential, but very big names to kind of back her up. I'm going with the powerhouse of my division, Jordynne Grace.
Oh, see, that's one that flew completely under the radar.
Yes, I absolutely love her. She is so strong. If it weren't for Tessa being amazing and Taya Valkyrie, I think she would be the Knockouts champion in Impact for a very long time. And I think she will be the Knockouts champion here soon. She is incredibly strong. I don't know. I'm sure you probably follow her on Twitter, but she is pretty damn hilarious on there. I mean, she calls out all the creepy guys that are, sliding into her DMs for whatever reason. She calls them out. She's written like 3 books based on I think they're titled the mailbox of a female wrestler. But she is, I just gotta love a good, strong woman, and she is certainly a strong woman.
That's a good pick. It's completely unexpected as well. Completely unexpected. I won't be stealing her, though. Excuse me. Because as you were talking there and you came out with somebody I wasn't expecting, like so many names just flooded to my head that I just completely forgot about. And I don't know how I even forgot about it because coming into pick number 8 here, it's like we've just seen her and I completely overlooked her and I can't believe that I did, especially considering I'm from the UK and therefore have a little bit more exposure to her than, you know, many fans around the world. I've seen her wrestle a couple of times live, and I think she's great. I think she's really, really good at what she does. She has a title victory to be held over your stolen pick, Rhea Ripley, when she became NXT UK Women's Champion. I think she's great. She's knocked up fantastic wins. Mae Young Classic, the NXT UK Championship. Recently showed up on the Survivor Series team for NXT. So maybe she's going to be part of NXT moving forward. I don't know. I hope she is. I'm going with Toni Storm.
Oh, interesting. The way you were going, I thought it was someone else. But Toni Storm is incredible. Yes, that's a very good late round pick.
I don't even know why that one kind of like slipped my mind. There's so many wrestlers that flooded to me there when you were talking about Grace that I was like, wow, how are these names not on this list in front of me right now? They are now. I've just added them. So the rest of my draft is pretty sorted. Like you're going to have to come up with somebody, you know, spectacular for me to steal. I might not steal on this draft.
Oh, that'd be... Mm-hmm. Well, I'm happy with my steals, so I'm glad I got it out of the way.
I'm not happy with that steal.
Although Toni Storm would have been a good steal. But I'm happy with Rhea Ripley. Very happy. I know you're not, but I am. So let's see. So is it my turn for 8?
Yes, this is your 8th pick.
Right. Okay. So throughout this draft, I picked pretty straightforward characters. I mean, they're not, not all of the women that I picked are, very character heavy. The next pick that I have is very character heavy. And when I first saw her, I thought, she scared the hell out of me. To be honest, she scared the hell out of me. And that's because my pick is Rosemary from Impact Wrestling. I just love the demon assassin aspect of her gimmick. The way she comes out walking when she first came out, she came walking like a zombie, and her music just fits with her. And like I said, she's terrifying. And I think her finishing move is the F5 for a while. She is just... I needed to add a little bit more character to my division here, and I think she is going to be the perfect candidate to bring that scary, weird, somewhat like an Undertaker side to my division here.
Now, my knowledge of Impact is pretty poor. Is Rosemary the one who killed Ali?
I believe that it was Su Yung. Well, it was all weird. I haven't watched.
It was weird.
Hadn't watched in a while. It was very weird, very complex. I hadn't watched Impact for quite a while until recently. But back when I did was during when Rosemary was on top of the women's division, or the Knockouts division. She had Abyss and Crazy Steve was part of the Decay. Those three together were just terrifying. And even before that, Rosemary scared the hell out of me, and that always stuck with me.
It's a good pick. I don't have that much exposure to Rosemary, but I've seen little bits of her. I think she was the one siding with Ali, actually, in all that crazy shit that went down.
Yeah, like I said, it was weird. She was like siding with her, and I think they fought for a while, and then they're like best friends, and like the bunny and the demon kind of thing.
It was fun.
Yeah,
it was something different. It's very rare that you see murder on a wrestling show. But no, and see, you've got 2 picks in a row there that are thinking outside the box. I like it. Oh, so my pick, number 9. God damn indeed. It's tough. It's a tough one, this. I've got a couple of names floating around in my head right now. Oh. Right. Okay.
Something's sticking.
Something has stuck. And this is nobody, I don't think, would have expected this. Nobody. So get ready. Strap yourself in. Let me just write this down.
Let me click my seatbelt real quick.
So my number 9 pick, I've gone for, obviously I went for Toni Storm, my 8th pick, NXT UK women's champion before somebody else took it off her, just in case I remind you who that is and you pick her. This is somebody else who is part of the NXT UK roster, and somebody who I have had the pleasure of seeing wrestle 4 or 5 times, I think, so far, and I've been pretty impressed every single time I've seen her wrestle. Like I think initially the thing that grabbed me was the entrance. The entrance was like, I don't know, it just really drew me into her as a character. I think her entrance theme is incredible. I love it. I think it's brilliant. Well, when I've seen her wrestle, I've enjoyed, the way she's wrestled and, how she presents herself and stuff. And I haven't watched NXT UK since NXT UK Takeover Cardiff. And I regret that because it was such a good show. I was there live. It was fantastic. But I like to binge NXT UK, so I'm building it all up. But from what I've seen, I think recently she's on a bit of a tear. My 9th pick, and this is keeping the future in mind for my brand, because I've got Belair, Toni Storm, and now Isla Dawn.
Ooh. Damn, that is a really good pick.
3 young women who are going to be the future of my brand. Isla Dawn is my 9th pick. You were throwing out names that many people might not have gone with. I had to do the same. I've gone with Isla Dawn.
That is a great pick. That is a really great pick. She has a really cool look to her. I love I believe she's still doing the kind of, she's a witch and she's really mysterious, and I do like that.
I love it.
That is a very good pick. And she can go in the ring.
I've enjoyed like I say, I've seen her wrestle like 4 or 5 times live now, and like every single time, like I've enjoyed what she's done. So she's young. This is a trend in the excuse me, the back end of my draft is youth. She's a big part of that.
That is a great pick. Great pick.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What am I up to? 9?
This is your 9th, yes.
All right. Well, with my trend of, like I said, I'm picking girls or women that really stuck with me and had something special to offer, and really had moments and time where I really felt their story or felt what they were doing. And with my 9th pick, I'm going to choose someone who you may be familiar with the UK NXT UK scene and the UK scene in general, but I need another big, strong badass on my team, and there's very few women that are big and strong and as badass as the alpha female, Jazzy Gabbard.
Steal.
Damn it.
And I'll tell you why I'm going to steal, because when I was looking at number 9, it was either going to be Isla Dawn or it was going to be Jazzy Gabbard.
That is such.
So you just saying her
good steal
has made me it made, the writing's on the wall. So Jazzy Gabbard, I'm going to insert there into my number 10, and I'll put stolen. Hear that? Stolen in brackets. I love Jazzy Gabba. I think
is-
she's fantastic. I really do. Like when she did, I'd never heard of her until the Mae Young Classic, and then she did a podcast appearance on the Edge and Christian pod, and she came across like incredibly well. Like her story is so good.
God.
Like it's unbelievable. Like everything that she's been through, like up to this point, like amazing.
It's incredible.
And it seemed that she'd lost maybe her chance in WWE. I believe they actually had the offer on the table, ready to go, and then she picked up an injury, which an absolute shame. But it's so good to see her now back with WWE, especially amongst the NXT UK roster as well, because they need a bit of firepower down there, I think. And Jazzy Gabba, you cannot look past her. Like, she's fantastic. She's great.
She is incredible.
There was a few names that could have been my 10th pick, but when I'm trying to think about who I want to, like when I'm building a brand, I don't have, the absolute like beast mode kind of women's wrestler amongst my squad. So Jazzy Gabba fills that mold, and she's brilliant at it. So
she's so good. I'm very upset with you now. Yeah, when I first saw her, I didn't know about her either before the Mae Young Classic. And when she first came out, and you see her walk out on the stage, and I mean, we saw the video package before, so we had an idea. But when the crowd first sees her, you can hear a crowd-wide gasp. And when you have that badass look and you're coming out as, the alpha female, and you get that reaction, and then you go out and have a match like she did with, I think it was Kimberly. That was just so fun and just so incredible. I was upset that she didn't go further and that she wasn't signed right away, but I'm so happy to see her, especially after hearing her story, like you said, so happy to see her under the WWE flag of NXT UK, and seeing her on the weekly program, and it is just so incredibly great to see her there.
absolutely, and I'm good now because I've run out of picks, but I'm glad. There you go. I always did say my 10th pick is a blockbuster, and stealing at number 10, I've signed off pretty well. So you've got the floor here, really, with your final two picks.
Man, I do. I really do. And the question here is, do I continue my streak of going with female wrestlers that I enjoy, or do I try to get a big name to add? Decisions. I mean, I have two, right?
You have two left, yeah.
I have two
in
left. In a row. Well, let's go right away here. I know that this one with, again, another competitor in the Mae Young Classic that really shined and made a hell of an impact, and she's from your neck of the woods as well.
Oh.
I am going to go with Viper or Piper Nevins.
Interesting.
Yeah, I
Interesting, yeah.
thought, man, she is from what she could do when I saw her in the Mae Young Classic, and since then, she is a very agile woman with the size and strength to just push her opponents around. And I think that my strong, very strong, agile group of women could use, that person that can counteract that immovable object to meet with that unstoppable force. So I think she is a very good addition to my Worldwide Women's Wrestling League, or Worldwide Women's Wrestling Federation. And but now for my 10th pick.
Oh, you got to sign off on a good one here, buddy. This could make or break your brand.
It really could. And you know what? I'm going to go not with my heart, but with my brain. And I'm going to choose, with a doozy of a 10th pick, I'm going to pick Ronda Rousey.
Okay, okay, I can go with that.
She's got that big name that I'm going to bring to my division, and she's got some big. I'm looking at this as if we're starting actually, a real league here, and I'm going to put her up against all of these women in my division. I got a big group of strong women. She's only going to get better, wrestling wise and on the microphone. She's not my personal favorite, but she's going to add that big name that I needed to my list. So yeah, my 10th pick, Ronda Rousey.
If you're going to go out on a high, I don't think Ronda Rousey's a bad pick to do it. She only really wrestled for a bang on a year.
Yeah,
and what a year it was. So many of us thought it was just going to be a part-time deal, but no, she stuck around for the duration of that year, which is very, very surprising. I thought she had a really, really good run in WWE. Is she done? I don't know. I think she's hinted at it that she's not coming back, but there's so many ready-made programs for her to enter into should she come back that would be fantastic. They would be really, really good. And I didn't think she was that bad in the ring. She was when you look back at, say, Kurt Angle, who just naturally picked everything up. He came from obviously the amateur wrestling background. She's coming from a mixed martial arts background, and she just naturally seemed just to pick everything up. And I like the fact that she's linked with Kurt Angle, the fact that she obviously had a debut match as his tag partner. I love the fact that they're linked in that way because their start offs were kind of similar. And you just kind of go from, you had that killer match at WrestleMania, with Kurt, Triple H, Stephanie, and then 1 year on, you're main eventing WrestleMania in 1 year.
That's
Crazy.
A hell of a rise. And I mean, as she went on, she got better in the ring. I know she was kind of criticized for doing, the same movesets over and over. But I mean, she's a legit badass, and she could take down pretty much anyone on the roster, I'd imagine. And she is my 10th pick and my big name to bring around when I have my own WWW.
So many
WWF.
Yes, that's a great pick to round out your brand. It really is. Like I'm just looking at your brand here, and it's very good. It is very good.
I think so. I hope so. Hopefully the listeners think so.
Yeah. Now, before we obviously lock these in, we do have a dower up. Excuse me, up for grabs, the swap. But before we get into whether or not we're going to use that swap or not, let's just do a rundown of our picks at this point. So for my brand, HLA, which does not stand for Hot Lesbian Action, it does stand for Haggis Lovers Association. Before anybody starts to try and jump on me,
don't at Dits.
Don't at me. No, don't at me. You just come at me and talk about your love for haggis. I'll take that. So I've gone for Io Shirai, Trish Stratus, Lita, Asuka, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, Toni Storm, Isla Dawn, and Jazzy Gabba. Stolen. Who's your 10?
Stolen.
Reel them off.
My 10 start off with Tessa Blanchard, Shayna Baszler, Becky Lynch, AJ Lee, Candice LeRae, Rhea Ripley, Jordan Grace, Rosemary, Piper or Viper Nevins, and Ronda Rousey.
There's some great names in that. In that 20, there's so many great names. So
good.
So the question I pose to you now, Keif, is do you want to swap any of your top 4 out for any of your reserves?
Just the top 4?
Just the top 4.
Ooh. You know what? I'm happy with my top 4. I am good with that. I'm happy with my whole list, but I'm very happy with the top 4.
I'm actually very close to swapping out Lita with somebody. Very close. But
If it wasn't the top 4, I would probably do it with someone else.
no, I'm not going to do it. I'm happy with Lita. Having Trish and Lita in my top 4, I like it. I'm happy with that. So that is our 10s locked in. That is our brands locked in.
Lock it up.
Locked in. And just out of curiosity, who did you have in your reserves? Outside of the ones that have already been picked.
Oh, man. I had... Should I just go down a list of them?
Yeah, go down. Knock them out.
Okay. Tegan Knox, Dakota Kai, let's see, Chelsea Green. Who else did I have? I had Shotzi Blackheart, who she actually is another one of my. It's another situation where I had to think with my heart or my brain and not my heart, because I've actually seen Shotzi wrestle in person and met her in person, and she's such a wonderful person that I couldn't put on her on my top list just yet. Maybe next year since she's signed with NXT. But other than that, I had Kairi Sane, of course, which I think I would have swapped her if it weren't for just the top 4. I have a good top 4. Let me ask you, who were you thinking of swapping out for Lita?
I was thinking of putting in China. Mm-hmm.
That's a good.
Because
See, I didn't have China on my list because I had Jazzy Gabbard on my list, and I thought, if I'm going to have a big, beefy, strong woman, I want it to be Jazzy. And I didn't go with her, or I did go with Jazzy, and she was stolen away from me.
Sorry about that. I'm not, but sorry about that.
That's okay. I took Rhea Ripley from you, so.
Yeah, I think yours is worse, to be honest. I'm still reeling from that. So a couple of my honourable mentions. I've got Molly Holly, Bailey, Mickie James, Alexa Bliss, Victoria, China, of course, Ivory, and Gail Kim.
Gail Kim.
Mm-hmm.
As you're reading those off, I thought of other names too, like Jacqueline, Jazz, Nikki Cross. There's so many. It's really hard to nail down 10 good females. It's like just the same as asking any male wrestlers, nailing down 10 picks. It's once you sit down and start thinking of female wrestlers, they just start, like you said, flooding through your mind there.
Like, there's so many great names to pick from, but when you look at this list, like I think the common denominator here, we've gone for youth, we've gone for future out of everybody here, which is good. I like that, because that is what it's all. That's what everything's gearing towards. Like, the women's division is only going to get better and better and better. So we're kind of in line with that, I think.
Oh yeah, I definitely went into this thinking I want young up and come, or not necessarily up and comers, because they're all pretty much on top of their game here, but I want a young division of women that can be in my federation for years, and I think we both nailed that down pretty well.
Absolutely. Now, guys, listening to this, that is, of course, our brands locked in. My HLA, my Haggis Lovers Association, and the WWF on Keif's side is locked in there. Now, all you have to do is, of course, vote on who your favorite brand is. Is it Dits, the Draft Master, or is it Keif the Chief? Who's it going to be? You head over to the promoted tweet over on my Twitter, and I'm sure Keif will fire out a tweet as well, linking you
absolutely.
to said tweet. And the poll will be attached there. And cast your votes and decide who you want to be the best brand. Now, I think it could go either way, this one.
I think so too. This might be, just based on our poll from what to draft, it might just be 50-50 all the way down. What happens if we tie?
I don't even know. I think
we have to do it all over again.
I think we just have to call a draw. Although I'd come up with some crazy tiebreaker, probably.
We'll just flip a coin.
Flip a coin. Leave it to the power of the Google flip coin. But no, I've wanted to do a draft of women's wrestlers for quite a while, and the fact that it's come up 3 times, other people going for the women's wrestlers and just not coming through. But I'm glad that this time it's finally come through. Like, there's been a demand for it. It's clear to see, and this time we've managed to actually go ahead and draft women's wrestlers, and it's been great. I've enjoyed it.
It's been a lot of fun.
And that's it. That's the key word there. Fun. Fun is the key word.
Yeah.
So before I let you go, and this could actually be a little bit of an exclusive here, potentially, because you are the first draftee that I have had, or drafter that I've had on DOW Draft that doesn't have a podcast. Of course, you are active on Twitter. You are part of the wrestling Twitter community, so you can plug your page. But do you have something in the pipeline, maybe?
You dog, you. Maybe. We'll see. At the beginning of this year of 2019, I said it's going to be a big year. And I think that 2020 is going to be an even bigger year. I have some plans in the work. I've purchased some very nice equipment and gotten some good advice from some friends. But for now, you can find me at Keif_the_Chief on Twitter. I'm always down for a good conversation, and maybe here soon you'll be hearing my voice come through your ears a little more frequently, we'll say. Just for now, we'll say that's about all I can give up. Yes,
please. Do it. You don't want to disappoint everybody.
I don't. I just, I've heard that it's not easy, and it's going to be a challenge, which I think I am definitely up for the challenge. And really, I've met so many good friends like you and a few others that I think I'll have a laundry list of guests that I can bring on if I so choose, and kind of just pluck whoever I want out and ride their coattails to bigger things.
And if you do it, like I look forward to listening to it, because you are one of the good guys of wrestling Twitter. There's so many arseholes in wrestling Twitter, isn't there? Let's be honest. But to find somebody who is, actually just genuinely a decent person, I think it's really hard to find. And I think, Keif, you are one of those decent people. So I'm more than happy to have you come on here and shoot the breeze and, draft some women's wrestlers. It's been fun. It's been fun.
It's been a blast. And that's really nice of you. I appreciate it. That's like, I try to be positive on Twitter, and I don't like to put people down on there for what they like. I try to be open-minded. I'll definitely argue with you. I'll debate with anyone, and I'll go back and forth until one of us gives up, which it's probably not going to be me. But I try to be nice to people. I don't like being negative in my real life, so I don't want to be negative in my online life.
Exactly. And here is a cheap plug, potentially, because I don't know if I'm actually going to do it. But in the next couple of days, maybe next couple of weeks, now that I am a YouTube sensation, I'm actually going to do a little podcast tips, hints and tips kind of video. So you could listen to that or watch it. You could watch it. You don't have to listen to it. You watch it and maybe get some tips.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I am definitely already subscribed to your YouTube, so I will be tuning in to your regularly produced shows. And if I see, I'll definitely put that on my first up to watch and tune into. So I will be watching you, Dits.
I don't know where to be creeped out by that. But as you did say, I do have previous episodes, previous shows of everything. And if you do want to catch any of my previous episodes, of course, my episodic stuff, it's time based. So obviously I cover what happens in the week of. So if you want to go back and listen to what happened on Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW like weeks ago, be my guest. Go check all that stuff out. But the stuff that is timeless is the Draft That series. this is going to be a timeless episode, just like the 80s wrestlers, just like the finishing moves, theme songs, the current roster of WWE personnel isn't timeless, but it's relevant. It's still relevant. So if you want to go and check out any of the previous drafts, head over to Apple Podcasts, head over to Spotify, head over to Stitcher, iHeartRadio, essentially anywhere you listen to podcasts, and go and download these episodes. Go and listen to them, because each and every single one of them has been a blast. They've been a lot of fun. The last Draft That episode that I did with Ant Won't Stop is the most listened to episode of the DOW pod, and it isn't even close. It is under the DOW Draft That umbrella. The Draft That series is rocking, it is a rolling, and it's set to continue with the one that we've just done now with Keif the Chief. So if you want to listen to any of those previous stuff, go find your podcast app that you listen to, your favorite podcast. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you rate the podcast 5 stars. Make sure you leave a review, because I like to listen. I like to see good things said about me. I love it. I'm not. I like to be humble as best as I can, but I like to feel good. And you saying nice things about me makes me feel good. And if you want to be a dick and say something negative, then I enjoy that too. I like a bit of conflict every now and then, but constructive criticism I am always open to as well. So any sort of review, just leave it. It helps improve the podcast, and that's the most important thing, improving this thing for you guys. But this has been a lot of fun. I am, of course, Captain Dits of the Dits on Wrestling podcast. Join with me, Keif the Chief, future wrestling podcaster, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed, buddy. This has been DOW Draft That of women's wrestlers. I'll see you next time. Ciao, 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 ciao.